Hello! In today's Archaeoscoop, my top 3 headlines are as follows. Headline number 1 comes from the northern Peruvian coast, where archaeologists are changing our understanding of the shape of the coastline. Now, why is this, I hear you cry? Archaeologists don't deal with geology or erosion of coastlines, but actually in this case we do. You see, in 1532, a party of conquistadors, I suppose, famously wiped out or took over what remained of the Incan Empire. Led by Francisco Pizarro, fewer than 200 men it is estimated, along with some local allies, really with a death nail in the Incan Empire. And while that was a dramatic thing, it seems that it had a subtle side effect, which had an even more dramatic effect on the landscape. See, before the Spaniards arrived, fishing parties and fishers and local communities living on the coast had been feasting on the coastline for nearly 4,700 years, it seems. And there was a very subtle thing that was happening. In eating shellfish, the shells were being deposited on sand dunes and actually shielding them, armouring them from the effects of the sea. So as soon as this this way of life ceased, really, with the coming of the Spanish, this subtle armour was no longer being deposited, and actually had an effect on the coast and the shape of the coast. This sort of undulating landscape was forever lost. So archaeologists are now using sort of boreholes, and they're digging down and they're seeing the different layers of these sort of eating, armouring events, and they're really coming to some fascinating conclusions about this subtle thing which had a massive effect on the shape of the Peruvian coastline. So I think it's a really interesting news story and well worth reading more about. So that's headline number 1. Headline number 2 actually comes from London, where archaeologists from the Museum of London have been digging close to, or by the sounds of it, under the US Embassy in Vauxhall in South London. They've actually come across stone tools dating to the Palaeolithic, and as they helpfully say in the news article, that's before 10,000 BC, so before our current climactic era that we're currently living in. So it was quite a different world. But they're quite excited by this, in so much as it's an excellent opportunity to look into the origins, the pre-Roman especially origins of London, or certainly just human occupation on the site that is now London. I'm not saying that those people necessarily called themselves Londoners or flew around with Mary Poppins, but they certainly were living there. Excuse me. The landscape, which today obviously is part of a sprawling urban mass, was once actually a network of rivers and small islands, and there was also evidence of a fish trap dating to around 12,000 years ago, and also campfires discovered on the site. So a really interesting prehistoric find in a part of the world where we're just starting to put together a picture of what it was like to live there a long time before London, the city, was even a glint in someone's eye. So that's headline number 2. Headline number 3 actually comes from Cambridgeshire and a small, well, fairly small it seems, place called Sawtry. It's a situation, an instance where I could not be more excited and pleased to see this happening. And that is essentially community archaeology. A team from the University of Cambridge Higher Education Field Academy and youngsters from Cromwell Community College have been, and the Voyager Academy and Sawtry Community College have been working in small groups to carry out excavations and test pits in village gardens. This is a wonderful thing. It's actually being headed up by Carenza Lewis, famously of Time Team, and or rather as was of Time Team, and she said that more than 50 teenagers and staff from the 4 schools worked really well, making new friends and learning new skills and making new finds. We were all rewarded by the discovery of evidence for Sawtry's earliest known settlement along Fen Lane, and we now know which we now know, to be around 1,000 years old. So a brilliant instance of community archaeology, and archaeologists giving people a chance to get involved, really, and I could not help but highlight that. So that's headline number 3. So there you go, those are my top 3 headlines for the past few days. For those and also other news stories from the past few days, all you need to do, as ever, is check out the video information below and read the news stories, well, at your own pace. No need to rush. You can take your time. Anyway, no matter what you've got planned this weekend, we're actually planning on going camping, I do believe. No matter what you've got planned, do have a wonderful weekend, and I shall see you soon. Until then, do take care. Bye bye.